All right, so we're back here once again on another Tuesday. Couch Coaches, it's Couch Coach Live, man. I got my guys in the building, man. Let me get it all started. What's going on, Jerk?
Nothing much. Glad to finish off the day being on Couch Coach Live again. I'm very happy.
Absolutely. Jeff, the pod father. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. It feels like I haven't seen you guys forever. I'm glad to be here. This is awesome.
I know.
Takes me
It's been a minute.
Takes me back to my Tuesday aftermath days.
Yeah. And Rob, football and chill, my guy Cruz Allen. Nice hat, brother.
Thank you. I saw it on you the other day and thought it looked really good, so I thought I would go cop one for myself.
Absolutely. I'm glad it did come in time. I know we were kind of like, oh, man, it's going to be a while. And last but not least, my guy, Mo Gotti. What's going on, Mo?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I love the nickname, but
hey, it's great.
This is a tough crowd to be around today, man. I haven't Couch Coach Rob, we haven't done something together in a minute. Jerg, when you get on, right. I know I got to do my homework.
I know, right?
And then I'm in the presence of the pod father. So this really a tough crowd to be around today.
Yeah, but I'm a comic book podcaster now, man.
Pod father, versatility, pod father,
big time. So let me cue this new intro, fellas. Let me kick this intro.
Yo,
that's dope.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate
it, fellas. You know, I did that at the crack at midnight last night. I cooked a little bit something, you know.
Always raise the bar off the ball. Always raise
Got to, man. That's what we have to do here, man. Yeah. What's going on, Steven?
Steven's studying tonight. Don't bother Steven. He's studying. He got homework.
Yeah, man. Big time. So, fellas, let's kick off this week's Couch Coach Live, man. Let's talk about divisional round weekend. Let's do our recap. I'll go with you first, Mo. Your thoughts on divisional round weekend?
Well, if there's a team outside the NFC East that I absolutely hate, it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it is because I'm from that area and everybody is just so happy-go-lucky. They going to the Super Bowl, you let them tell it. But to be honest, bro, the disappointment for me in that game wasn't whether the Bucs or Saints won that game. It was Drew Brees kind of is going out sad in a sense. He said, he didn't really officially announce his retirement. It came out before the game that he was going to retire. This was going to be his last game in the Superdome. And I think all the events that we seen after the game is true. The way he blew his kisses to the crowd, took one look back, spent a lot of time after the field with his family in a private conversation with Tom Brady. I do think he's done. And it's tough to see these legendary guys go that all of us grew up on. It's tough to see these guys go. Tom Brady is going to leave eventually. It looks like Drew Brees is gone. It looks like Phillip Rivers may be done. Big Ben may be done. Like Eli Manning has left. So to see a lot of these quarterbacks who were championship quarterbacks or really great quarterbacks in our era, it's the end of an era. Like Drew Brees leaving is, Peyton Manning is gone. So that was kind of tough for me just seeing all that. But to get into the Bucs Saints game, I don't know how y'all felt about it. The Bucs came to play. I can't take away from anybody because Brady didn't have the greatest game. But literally everybody else on that team had played the game of their life, from the Bucs defense to the rest of the offensive players. Fournette and Ronald Jones played great in that game. Their offensive line was bullying the Saints. They just, outside of saying Brady had a great game, the Bucs played magnificent. And like I said, I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but that's what I got from that game was the Bucs played magnificent. I'm gonna give them their credit. Who else? The Bills ain't ready for the Chiefs. I'm gonna throw that out there as they're not ready for the Chiefs. Their defense stifled a limited Baltimore offense. So anybody I'm not saying the Bills don't have a chance, but they're not going to beat the Chiefs. I'll put it like that. So if me saying that definitively is saying they don't have a chance against the Chiefs, unless Mahomes doesn't play what he's going to play, they don't have a chance. The Packers are going to beat the Bucks. You know, just to throw my prediction in that. The Packers, Aaron Rodgers looks like he's on another level right now. I feel like all of us can agree on that. Aaron Rodgers is on another.
He always looks like that the week before he loses, though. I mean, in all honesty, I don't mean that as a joke. If you look at the week, like every year in the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers, the week before he loses, you're like, there's no way this guy's losing. That's all I'm saying. It's the truth.
Yeah, but it's just Aaron Rodgers has kind of been on another level all season.
For 13 years.
Yeah, but the past couple of years he's been battling injuries, and people try and count him out. You know, even coming into the draft, drafting his replacement, we knew he wouldn't be replaced this year, but just the getting prepared to possibly not see Aaron Rodgers in a Green Bay uniform anymore, and then he comes out with what should be the MVP season. I mean, in my eyes, Rodgers should win the MVP. Mahomes is 2 on that list, but I have to give it to Rodgers. Just because I want to say adversity and limited weapons that he has. He kind of makes his weapons outside of Devontae Adams. We know Aaron Jones is a really good running back, but Mahomes has all his weapons. So Robert Tonyan is no Travis Kelce. As good as he's been this year, he's no Travis Kelce. So I just got to give the MVP to Aaron Rodgers. And then, on the other end, the Kansas City Chiefs, man, anything is possible. That's got to be the model for that game. Anything is possible.
I don't even say that name. I want to talk about Chad Henne.
I hate to, Jeff, I hate to any more than you, it's me. But, I mean, he came in and he did what he was supposed to do to make sure that team got that win. And that gutsy run that he had, that's one of those, I'm going to put the team on my back, and I'm going to put myself in and it was a dangerous position. He could have slid. But he knows, I feel like that's an IQ move where once you give your body up in a QB slide is where the ball goes, and it wasn't going to be enough for a first down. Where it was a veteran move, and it was a great way to dive
Where we giving Chad any credit? What are you doing, bro?
Right now? I'm sorry. I have to. Because
Cruz, you got to put a stop to this.
Cruz might hit me
waiting.
Something I'm not thinking about. Look at him. He Mo, you done opened a cup of tea. I'm about to get you. No, I gotta give him his credit, bro. Like, regardless of him being a university of we cannot say the name, he came in and did his job, and I think that's what shows the Chiefs are
as a backup
dangerous.
Quarterback. He was a backup quarterback.
But he came in and he did what he was supposed to do. No, but he came in and did what he was supposed to do, hold it down. Mahomes is gonna play this week. So I just think from the divisional standpoint, I don't think anybody is surprised by the 4 teams left. Y'all might have had different predictions, but I don't think you're surprised by seeing the Bucks, Packers, and Chiefs and Bills, especially since I think a lot of people had the Chiefs and Bills in the AFC. And then once the playoffs was about to start, Couch Coach Rob, I know y'all are huge Washington fans, so you definitely didn't want to see the Bucks there. It wasn't an unrealistic thought to think that the Bucks could be in the NFC Championship playing the Packers. So, I think with the divisional round, nobody should be surprised with the 4 teams that are left. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen because I think these are 2 games that I think they're going to put on a show. Both games. I think these are going to be tight-knit, down to the wire, NFL conference championship classics. Like, I think these are going to go down. These are evenly matched from the Bucks, Packers, Chiefs, Bills. That Bills defense against the Chiefs offense. Can the Chiefs defense even hypothetically slow down the Bills offense? Because that's the thing. The Bills have a high-powered offense also. So it's so many questions going into this conference championship. But it was a great divisional weekend. You could kill a lot of players. We could do that. But it was great football this weekend and not as high scoring as I thought it would be.
Yeah. So before we get Rob's take, I got my guy in the building. What up, Steven?
What's up, fellas?
Breaking the game.
Steven, you're supposed to be working.
Bro, that's what I'm here for.
Them comics ain't gonna read themselves, man.
Bro, I've been reading circles around you right now. I'm just gonna say.
Hey, Jeff needs help, ain't as lenient as I'm telling you that, right?
So Rob, your thoughts on divisional weekend?
2 big things. One, Chad Henne, he played all of 6 downs to close out the game. I mean, are we really going to expect him to do that against a Bills defense?
Nope.
No, you're right.
Right. So that if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play, Bills are essentially a shoo-in, in my opinion. Still a really good offense. I give you that. But the thing that Patrick Mahomes brings to that team is something that is not measurable. It's you can't see it in tape. You don't see it at the combine. It's just something different with that dude. He is that dude. Now, given, I still think the Bills are going to win, even if Patrick Mahomes is in the game, but that's for a later time. My big thing that I took away from this weekend was one, I didn't tear up, but I got close watching Drew Brees walk off the field. Blowing the kisses to the fans, blowing the kisses to his family. Just something tells you that was his last game that we will ever see him play. And it's honestly sad because, like Mo said, these are the era. This is the era of the guys that people like myself and him grew up, and Steven grew up watching. The Brees, the Roethlisberger, the Brees, the Roethlisberger,
Manning.
Rivers, Manning. Eventually Brady's gonna hang it up too. And these are all the guys that we grew up watching. The reason we watch the game, and it's
wish
sad.
I grew up watching them.
Right. Right.
Got my class of '83 right here.
Jeff and Cole,
that's
age,
That's another thing that
Jeff watched the first Manning play football.
That's something that popped into my head, that this is like the older generation's class of '83, the Marinos and all them, seeing them come up in the league, and it's a sad time. It really is, and hopefully Brady hangs it up soon so Chris can go on to something else and talk about
the Giants fan.
So
he can go back to being a Giants fan. One other thing I did realize this weekend, I absolutely hate the fumble out of the back of the end zone, resulting in a touchback for the other team.
Yeah.
I've never hated it as much as I hated it this weekend for the Browns. Now, given I don't know if the Browns still would have won that, if they would have, gone to win that game. I don't know. But the fact that is even a rule, we gotta fix it.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk about
Brady cries every game. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Drew Brees in the next frame. So we'll save all our eulogy for Drew Brees on the next go round. So Steven, your thoughts on divisional round?
Oh man, I mean, first off, I'm wearing the hat of my beloved Rams team, and they suffered defeat, and it's just crazy to me how much I have to get explained how my quarterback isn't as bad as I think that he is from fans of other teams.
Man. I think McVay's not even on board anymore.
I'm just saying, like, I get told by people who aren't even Rams fans that don't watch this dude as much as I do, like how much I should really stop being as critical as I am on him. And it blows my mind. Like, dude had 170 yards passing and a single touchdown, and people are like, he played great. I'm like, all right, maybe great for his standard, but is that really the level of greatness? I mean, if so, then someone please just tell me. But, it was sad to see my Rams go out the way that they did. I was happy to see the Bills advance, the Packers, good for them. It just feels like this is Rodgers' year. It just feels that way. And
that every year before he loses.
Well, no, I'm saying I've never felt like it's been his year more so than this year. I've never been one to say this just feels like, A-Rod's year. This year really does feel that way to me. The AFC, it could go the way that you guys are saying. I just wanted to say something real quick, and you guys can say limited numbers and all that. I just want to throw this out there. I'm not saying that Chad Henne is going to lead this team to a win. But on the season, he's 28 of 38. That's 74% on the season, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And that's on 38 attempts. So, I mean, it's, say what you want about the sample size or whatever. But, I mean, in the system, he's shown to be adequate at running that offense, right? So, we'll see. This is going to be kind of a smaller version of was it Brady or was it Belichick leading this team to success? The Henning coming in here could make this a whole new debate that we're going to start hearing on daytime sports debate shows. Is it the weapons or is it Mahomes? Henning could come in and have that sort of a game potentially. I'm not going to I don't want it to be that, but I could definitely see that happening. And you guys are shaking your head. I think it's because you could see that happening too.
I think it's because
I mean,
we've watched Chad Henne play football.
yeah, and we gotta think
So
about
you
it.
so
We've
you
seen
saw
that
him
play in the
complete.
fourth
So you
quarter.
saw him complete
No, you
74%
can't.
of his passes.
And
this
then
year.
the Elevaz interception in the fourth quarter that could
But
have
Steven,
killed them.
I don't
Mhm.
disagree
I'll
with
wait my
Steven.
turn, but no.
I just want to say real quick,
wait
I
my
don't
turn.
disagree with Steven. If you
I
just listen to
do.
what he's saying, and Jeff, yours comes from a very hateful place.
No,
Like,
that's the
In
to
more ways
start
than
off,
one. Miami. He was in
more than one.
Miami.
I will explain
Exactly.
myself when the time
Okay,
comes.
Right.
but what I'm saying is what Steven is saying, it's not. Bro, Chad Henne is gonna go in there. He's a
Steven
seasoned
always has
veteran,
snacks. I don't.
and
That's for sure.
he's surrounded by a lot of talent. We do have to think about Mahomes
Most talent he's
elevates,
probably ever been surrounded by.
right, and Mahomes
Oh, without a doubt.
elevates the talent around him.
Yep.
So Mahomes, I think, makes Tyreek Hill question whether he could be the top 3 receiver in the NFL right now. Mahomes elevates Travis Kelce. As great as he is, he'd be great anywhere. But like Travis Kelce in a couple of years might have an argument for the greatest tight end of all time. Everybody can say what they want. Look at his numbers.
What is
He's the
happening
first-
tonight?
Listen, all I'm saying, Mahomes
right.
is doing that. He's the first tight end to ever have 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. So
Yeah, he's
I'm
good.
not saying he's the GOAT right now.
That
He's
means
as good as he
something.
is.
That
He
means
would
good
be
route
great,
runner.
right? And he would be great anywhere. But Mahomes
But
elevates
he's a
him
wide
to
receiver.
legit greatness. So to think that talent around him couldn't elevate him to, instead of being like a backup, to a competent starter would be kind of crazy to me, to think that all that talent that we have, maybe Tyreek Hill's a top 5 receiver, Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the game. Their running game is ridiculous. With no Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they still have a great running game. We could question their defense all we want, but as far as offensive weapons go, those guys could step up next week against the Bills or this week against the Bills and elevate Chad Henne's level.
Who don't have
Yeah.
like a world beater defense. Like they have a passable
Yeah.
defense, but it's not a world beater defense. I mean,
But they do have a defense that works good against Henne, like just like
Right.
it did against Lamar. Like guys that don't.
that's not the same.
Yeah, but the way that the way
The
they play
offensive
the zone
scheme
and
is
the way
different,
they
though.
watch
Different.
I'm telling you,
Right.
Chad Henne is an interception thrower. The Bills thrive on that. It's a bad matchup.
Right.
I mean,
And
we'll
matter of fact,
see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying
I
that.
don't think Henne's going to play, is he?
Yeah, I don't think so. And the
I
thing,
don't
like
think
we
so.
talked about that fourth quarter interception that could have ruined this game. We got to remember that too. He threw an ill-advised interception in the fourth quarter in the red zone. Not in the red zone, but in the end zone.
But
Yeah.
that's
Remember
the
that.
difference is we're killing Henne. That was a terrible pass. I'm gonna be honest. I was wondering what he was doing.
So
But, like,
wait.
I don't. All right. So hang on.
I don't know what's happening.
Hang on. I didn't mean to turn this into a Chad Henne debate. All I was saying is that he could come in and potentially have a good game, and it could potentially lead to another sort of discussion. So that was one part of it, right? I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying imagine if he does come in. You know what I mean? That it could turn into, is it Mahomes making this offense successful, or is it the other way around? But I digress. We'll save that. That sounds like this is going to be a debate for another show. So
yeah. All right. So we'll get Podfather since you have Henne.
I'm not talking about Chad Henne anymore. I can tell you that.
The Michigan man.
you saved all that for my take.
You
Yeah.
dealt with him as a rival and also as a former Miami Dolphin.
Yeah, I got no time for Chad Henne. Like Chad Henne plays against the Bills,
All right.
they lose.
Yeah.
The
Take away from this weekend, from the previous weekend.
The Chiefs won their last 8 games, which they won, but they win them by 4 points. If you can't tell me Chad Henne's 4 points, not more than 4 points worse than Mahomes, like you're crazy against the Bills. Like I'm not
That's Mo Holmes.
Yeah, I'm not having Chad Henne discussion, but no, it was just an average divisional weekend. It really wasn't that great.
I didn't feel it either.
Like it was another one of those, like I said the other day to you guys, like the game ended and now everybody's mad because of penalties that didn't get called. Let me tell you, as someone that lives with Cleveland fans, if they were on the other end of that penalty and it got called, they would be mad that it got called. Like there's no, when it comes to this helmet to helmet stuff, first of all, and Brian Hartline tweeted it out. If it's not 4th down, you do not stretch for the pylon and risk fumbling it through the end zone. Because I don't care what anybody thinks about the rule. It is a rule.
It is what it is.
It'd be like if we were sitting here going, they need to stop calling face mask. Well, that's next year. This year, like you don't reach for the pylon when your team's going to be first and goal at the inch line. So I don't want I'm not saying Higgins is terrible or anything, but he messed up. Like that you just don't do that. So as far as that, I'm just putting that to bed. Like that's Cleveland played all right.
That's true.
Kansas City won. The play call by Andy Reid was awesome. Totally respect it. That was a cool play call. Chad Henne's run was awesome. And that's it. As far as the Saints game, Drew Brees just can't throw the ball anymore. Like
he and Roethlisberger both, man. He was the NFC's Roethlisberger in that game. It was awful.
I didn't need to see that again in 20 degrees in Green Bay. That game would have got out of hand. Brees. Not Patriots. I'm sorry. The South Coast Patriots, Gulf Coast Patriots,
Snowbird Patriots,
South Beach Patriots.
Have built a team all year, and they are peaking at the right time, and they look good. Devin White is my second favorite player to Fred Warner right now. The guy has played lights out for weeks. Just love watching them play. They were a faster, more aggressive team. Like I never thought that even though that game was in danger, you take out the first of all, okay, quick time out here. If you're playing the Saints and they put Jameis Winston in at wide receiver, there's the outside chance that he's going to throw the ball, and you don't cover the guy running the streak. So anyway, fluke touchdown should have never happened.
They got
like a 95%,
right?
But it's like a 95%
packages in the whole league.
Yeah, but it is it's like a 97% chance. Jameis lines up at wide receiver.
He might throw the ball.
He's not the most athletic guy. Like if it's Taysom Hill,
you don't even want to run the ball.
But Jameis isn't athletic enough to respect.
He's like a younger Chad Henne. He reminds me of Chad Henne.
So Jared, my bad, Jeff.
No, that's it. I was going to say the Packers did look very good. My point is the Packers look very good every time before they lose, and then everybody's like, "I didn't see this coming." Like that's how they are. So go ahead, Jared.
Except for when they won the Super Bowl.
So many points to go over in so little time. So Mo brings up a great point there. If it's Taysom Hill there, like you have to defend the idea that he's going to be there for a catch. Everyone knew Jameis was going to throw that. I don't know why Tampa's defense was like that. But aside from that, I'm really glad more people were introduced to Devin White and Sean Murphy-Bunting this past weekend. I have been high on those guys ever since Tampa drafted them. I am big fans of those guys. Devin Bush is the linebacker out of that draft class that gets the most credit, and as he should. But Devin White is a very good linebacker, and I'm very glad more people took notice of him this past weekend. He's great there.
You can thank Tom Brady for his success.
Yeah, for getting the notoriety there.
How dare you?
On that one. What I find wild the most about that Tampa Bay and Saints game is the fact that if you look at Tampa Bay stats, their leading receivers were Cameron Brate and Leonard Fournette. Like the fact that those two guys are the two that beat you, and not AB and Gronk and Godwin and Scotty Miller had a big catch in there. Like, the fact that Tampa won that game, I think Jeff said it best. They're peaking at the right time, which was always going to be the case with thinking they would at least make it to the NFC Championship game. They got to peak at the right time, and that's what they're doing. I look over in the AFC. I'll just get to Steven's point, like what he was saying before, really quick. Here's why I don't think it will end up being a debate between whether it's the weapons or Mahomes, is because that we saw before Patrick Mahomes took over a better quarterback than Chad Henne and Matt Moore, the other backup quarterback in Kansas City. So they just love those old Miami quarterbacks for some reason. Like we saw before Patrick Mahomes took over, Alex Smith, that last season before Mahomes, everyone was praising. Everyone was saying he became so good. Everyone was saying, I remember that year, it was legitimate conversation. People were saying Alex Smith, dark horse MVP. Then he gets traded to Washington, and it's like a lot of people were questioning Andy Reid, except everyone in that organization, like, this guy knows what he's doing, especially that defense who had to go against Mahomes, like, no. Trust it. This guy that's about to start is pretty good. Like, the reason why it's not going to be a debate between Mahomes or the weapons was because we already saw a pretty good quarterback do with those weapons. Alex Smith had Tyreek Hill. Alex Smith had Travis Kelce. They never got to the AFC Championship game. They never got this far.
I just want to say though that like they
Mahomes
do
got them
debate
to
it currently already. Like,
but
if
it
you
should,
watch
but that
any,
shouldn't be. Like
should,
it can be
and
both.
are
The thing
different
is, it
things.
can be
Yeah,
both.
agreed.
It can be the weapons, and it can be Mahomes is just so good.
I agree with
like,
you.
Kelce and Hill are so good. That's why. This is why I agree with you on one point, Steven. I actually think there's still a chance Kansas City beats Buffalo because of Hill and Kelce. That's how good they are. It has nothing to do with the quarterback. It all has to do with those guys. But at the same time, we saw what those guys did without Mahomes, and they had very good seasons with Alex Smith. 2 of Travis Kelce's 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons came with Alex Smith, but his career highs came with Mahomes. Tyreek Hill was an amazing receiver with Alex Smith, but his career highs came with Mahomes. Like it can be both, but at the end of the day, I don't think it'll come anywhere. It shouldn't come anywhere near the whole Brady Belichick thing, because if you just, and this is as simple as just look at the stats, they're already here without Mahomes. They take it up to an even higher level with him. So that's all I got to say. And last little note: NFC battle of the old quarterbacks, Rodgers, Brady. AFC, Allen versus we hope it's Mahomes.
Like a young Henny.
Yeah.
Coach,
No, I bet not.
Coach, real quick, but before you go, can I just get Jerk, because as great as he is with all this stuff, it's gonna mean a lot to me personally. Jerk, can you just go ahead and basically you agree with me that Mahomes elevates those guys a lot. Like they're great, but Mahomes elevates them to literally greatness.
Well,
like,
who else here is disagreeing? Who else here is disagreeing with that though?
No. Nobody's disagreeing with that statement. Like Steven, trust me, you and me are most of the time, 98% of the time are on the same page. But
that 2%,
I'm just saying, that 2% can get feisty. But with Jerg, it's just, bro, the way Jerg come and the way he come with it, I just want to hear that. I'm glad he agrees with me.
I
it just means a lot that I'm on the same page as Jerg. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just soaking up the moment that
Jerg making us all better people.
Jerg making me a better person. I'm Tyreek Hill. Jerg is Mahomes. He's making me a better person.
That's too much praise. That's too much praise.
I like it. I am not Cat Henning.
I don't know. You can't. No Holmes sounds better though.
And to prove, and it's funny to prove Jerg's point. Like essentially, that's how essentially Alex Smith was in San Francisco, where he was a great quarterback, and then Colin Kaepernick put them into the Super Bowl because of just his dynamic play. But you're right, Jerg. Essentially, because Patrick Mahomes is a different guy. He's just he's that guy, and like you can tell, like there is a precipitous drop when he's not in the game, because that game shouldn't have been nowhere near the closeness of that game. It was because of Jeff's favorite quarterback, the Michigan man, So we got to eliminate the M. But that's gonna be that's and like to your point. Then also like you said, now we have like the vets in the NFC, which is funny to think. Like we got Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers.
The History Channel classic.
Right, and we're not even playing in the Super Bowl. We're playing in a conference championship.
That's great.
So that's another thing where you think about how much of a treat. Even last week with Brees and Brady, which we always envisioned that was going to be a Super Bowl one of these days. Ended up being a divisional round, which is crazy. The Buffalo Bills are for real. They're legit, and I'm surprised no one is really. So let me, Rob. So do you still your take as far as Lamar Jackson still going to be like a bum in 5 years?
Yeah.
What?
Wow. Sticking with it. I gotta stick with it at this point.
I mean, you don't have to.
You don't have to, because I mean,
now, you
can come to your senses if you really want it.
A lot can happen. A lot can happen in the next 5 years.
Like he could get better.
He could be. You're right. He could be. I've said I hope I am wrong about that, because he is a tremendous athlete and a great.
Right.
He's a good runner. I hope I'm wrong about it.
Get him a receiver.
Right.
That was the game.
Yep.
We
So
give
Giving
and,
more credit to Chad
receiver.
Henne than Lamar
Hey,
Jackson tonight.
and you know what's so funny?
I'm not.
Chad Henne made it
and this is the
harder than
most
Lamar
point.
Jackson.
And this is the most point because funny is kept. That's all they're missing, and that's
Yep.
literally what Buffalo is essentially. If they didn't get Stephon Diggs, it'd be
Ooh.
the same situation. They're
That's
literally
true.
they're like
100%.
trading places. This is like Eddie Murphy and what's Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, dude, love
Yeah.
that movie, by the way. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. Thank
So-
you.
Hey,
so
my thing
essentially, yeah.
My only thing is
Randolph.
with Rob is with his take about Lamar Jackson, I will concede to him that he could be correct
Oh my
if the
goodness.
Ravens get him a receiver and he still looks like the minimized quarterback. But the thing is,
He was an MVP
until-
without a receiver.
You're right, but he's so dynamic. He's
They need to
bound to have a
elevate.
great
He
year.
needs
Yeah,
a
yeah.
What
number
I'm
one
saying,
though.
he
does.
can elevate off of that MVP season. What I'm saying is, I will start looking at Rob could be right. I still won't say, oh,
Yeah.
Rob's right, but Rob could be right. But there's, let's say they go get Julio Jones, and Lamar can't do anything
Or Chris
throwing the
Godwin.
ball to a guy like Julio or Godwin, or just get him a receiver better
I
than
was got to start
Hollywood
catching the
Brown.
ball though.
Hollywood Brown, who's like a one trick pony. If they go get him a really good receiver, he doesn't have to be a top 3 receiver. I don't expect him to have a DeAndre Hopkins, but you get him a top 10 to 12 receiver on his team, and he still looks very minimized in the pocket, looks like he can't make those throws, then it would be itching that Rob could be right. But their offensive scheme is based on they don't have a killer at receiver. You
Right.
expect Hollywood Brown and Willie Snead to do something.
That's the problem.
Hollywood Brown, your second or third best receiver on any
If
of the
Snead
team.
is your
Bro,
second,
And he even said that Hollywood Brown even said that the other night. Like
That's
so
all
that's
our
to me
teams.
that's red flags. Like to me, even your own personnel is telling you we need more.
How many
Yeah.
touchdowns does Hollywood Brown have if he plays for Kansas City in a healthy Mahomes? I'm being honest here.
I
12?
mean, he would
It
probably
depends
have
Probably
because he's still
six.
not the first
he probably have
option.
8,
6
He-
to 8.
but
he's
he
still
would be
not
a
the first option.
he'd be
is
the
the
third
point.
option.
No,
He
but
go
what-
to the Rams,
what I
he's
mean,
the third
because
option.
that's
Well, if he goes to
doesn't
cheat
fit
Kansas
Lam-
City.
it doesn't fit
Well,
Lamar.
not giving him the ball to the Rams.
See, I'm the
Well-
opposite. I don't think Lamar needs the number 1. I think he needs 2 or 3 number 3s and number 2s running around. I think he needs the guys like unclogging the middle and keeping the linebackers honest. If that's what I
But
think.
Lamar
But that's
has
gonna-
arm strength. Like my thing with Lamar is because his best receiver is Hollywood Brown.
Right.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying he
evaluate
doesn't
everybody,
need more receivers, but I think
I would say Mark Andrews is his best receiver.
but he's
For
a tight
sure.
end. But you evaluate all our teams. Dirk, I know you're not really a
And
fan
Mark
of one
Andrews is
team.
actually the best tight end in the
But,
league.
yeah.
Especially
But
right out of
to
the
your
tight end.
point, that would help. That's gonna open up
tripping.
everybody. So when you got Willie Snead and you got Hollywood Brown with a number 1, that's gonna open up everything. Like we talk about with Buffalo.
Exactly.
You see how Cole Beasley is doing his thing. I'm sorry,
And John
Mo.
Brown,
Close
because
your ears.
Cole,
Because they got
Cole-
Stephon
Cole-
Diggs.
Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley and John Brown are 2 and
What team
3
did he used to play
receivers
for?
with-
Yeah, that's why I said close your ears.
But Cole Beasley and John Brown will be very successful alongside a number 1 receiver, hence Stephon Diggs. My point is Hollywood Brown, he's the Ravens' best receiver, regardless of what we think. We could say the tight end, but Mark Andrews isn't really a. He's
I like how
a
Jeff
tight end.
subtly threw in a hot take that Mark Andrews is the best tight end in
Yeah,
the
because-
NFL.
Out of
Skip
the out of
over.
the tight end spot. Out of the
He
tight end
shouldn't.
spot. Travis Kelce's runs 80% of his
Hollywood,
80% of his
Measure-
passes are out of the slot. It's
but
just
measure Hollywood Brown on all our teams. You put him on the Rams, he's the third option. You put him on the Cowboys, he's the fourth option. You put him on the football team, Washington, he's second, maybe third option. Like it comes down to that. It's like he's not if he's your best, he's not a number 1 receiver. The
Yeah, I think
Rams have,
it is.
you know what I'm saying? Like you start measuring and like you look at, okay, we can talk about Jared Goff, but the point is if Hollywood Brown goes there,
We're not.
Robert Woods and
We
Cooper
won't talk
Kupp
about
are both
You're
better
my
than Hollywood
Chad
Brown.
Henne.
Like that's
Yeah.
kind of my point.
I wish he was Channing.
The Ravens could go get Robert Woods and be okay.
Imagine
the
him
Ravens
under
could go
McVay.
get Cooper Kupp
Oh my
and be
god.
okay. Like that's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
They got 2 receivers. Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp could be your number 1 receiver, and as long as you got a strong 2 or 3, which is what the Rams have, you could be okay. Lamar Jackson would be okay if Robert Woods is his best receiver. Like, that's my point. You don't need a top 3 to 4 receiver, but
Woods
you
is
need a
one of the
guy
best
better
route
than
runners in the
Hollywood Brown.
NFL.
But if
100%. But that's just
you're
kind of my
committed
point.
to
Is
that,
get him a guy like that.
you're tied into that run game. You got to find that blend like San Francisco has, and that's why you got to get guys like San Francisco has. You don't need number one
Well,
receiver.
Brown is Samuel. Like that, Debo and Brown are the same cat. Just saying.
Yeah. They need
Wait,
an OC. They need a new OC.
No. Steven's messing with me now. There's no way that you think Hollywood Brown and Debo Samuel are the same cat.
They're the same cat.
They're the same type of receiver, yeah.
Meow.
That's it.
Small shit. But why are we
I'm
putting
sorry, Hollywood
Patrick
Brown stays
Mahomes-
healthy. Excuse me.
Why are we putting Patrick Mahomes on this pedestal saying, yeah, he has great receivers, but he makes them better, but yet we're giving Lamar Jackson an out?
We're falling down a dangerous wormhole.
Yeah, you look,
Yeah,
bro.
this is-
You done took it too damn far.
Rob, you about to ruin like we was having a pointless conversation, and Rob about to bring to light the fact that we're having a pointless conversation.
I'm just asking.
Like,
I'm just asking.
No,
Y'all are
right.
making every single excuse for Lamar Jackson.
Well,
Next
no,
topic, please.
well,
Next topic.
What excuse?
What
I
is
didn't
He doesn't have a
He's
receiver.
excuse are we making?
I thought he did
I-
fine.
I'm not,
I wish
I'm
my
not
team
making
would win
an
a playoff.
excuse.
Yeah.
He's
I mean,
still a really
literally-
good quarterback. Like, he's still
Because
really
He's a
good.
quarterback.
Because essentially, if it wasn't
different
winning
than
the
him
quarterback
and
out of his
in-
draft
in-
class.
right in 2018
With limited
now,
weapons.
yeah,
That's all we're
He's-
saying.
and he's
You
the league
say he's the
MVP.
best quarterback?
Yes, he
I
is.
said he's the
Well, and-
winningest. I said
in
he's
the-
the
oh, in
winningest.
the- in the class
you're right,
2018.
you're right.
Now we got to
100%.
remember they're in two different draft classes. I think that's what a lot of people get confused about.
A lot of people get confused. Lamar's 24. Just
Yeah.
Correct.
And
Right.
just played his third playoff game whenever.
Lamar's still younger than Joe Burrow. That's crazy.
He's the only
Correct.
quarterback from his draft class that we are basing that we're judging him off winning at this point. We're not going to judge Josh Allen off of this for 2-3 more years. We're not going to judge Baker off this for a few more years.
Oh, heaven
Sam
forbid.
Sam,
we judge
Sam
Baker
Darnold.
Mayfield.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
Right.
Thank you, Steven.
Lamar is the only
Thank
guy
you.
from his draft class that we have put
We're
on
friends
this
again.
pedestal
That
to
Right.
be judged by
Debo
this.
Samuel.
I never,
thing.
I never not been your friend, bro.
That Debo Samuel stuff started pushing me away, man.
But yeah, so
I mean,
all right. So since we have been Rob has been dumping on quarterbacks, so we're gonna actually give Drew Brees some flowers, as we
Thank you.
we kind of alluded to earlier, that we're all thinking more than likely it'll be his last game. Jay Glazer reports, everybody's pretty much essentially even before the reports that looks like Drew Brees' last game was on Sunday. So Jerg, I'm gonna go with your thoughts on just Drew Brees. Your thoughts on just his career and just your personal feelings about Drew Brees.
I mean, a lot of you guys alluded to it earlier. Like, this is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. This is one of the most prolific passers the game has ever seen. Drew Brees is one of the guys that has set the standard now to, if your completion percentage is not in the 67 to 72% range, you're considered an inaccurate quarterback. He is one of the guys that has changed the math on how we have to judge a quarterback based off of passing. He is like I don't think it can be doubted. Like, in terms of passing, how good he was. Like, so many years of his prime were wasted on bad New Orleans Saints teams because the defense could never get it. Like, in the mid 2010s, there was like a 3 to 4 year stretch where that team was somewhere from 7-9 to 9-7 year in and year out, and it was not because of Drew Brees. It was because that he statistically had the worst defense in the league for 3-4 straight years.
don't put
Bounty
Chris's
Gate.
comment up. Don't put his comment up,
After Bounty Gate and all that.
Chris.
But
Anyway,
but in terms of the end of his career, like, I know a lot of people are trying to eulogize it. Like, am I the only one that wasn't surprised with how he played? Like, I think this when it comes to top tier athletes, confidence is the last thing to go, and the mirror is the last thing to know. Like, we have tried
That's deep.
to hold
Bars.
Drew Brees up on a pedestal the
fortune
last
cookie?
3 years, where since 2018, it's obvious he wasn't the same in terms of his arm strength. Now, accuracy is a different story. In terms of getting the ball down the field, it almost hurt. Like, I'm hearing people say it almost hurt to see him try to throw the ball downfield the last few years. And the fact that Tampa took advantage of it, it was just the culmination of what we've seen the last few years. And I'm sorry that yet another heartbreak for him. I feel for the guy. When you're a super competitive athlete, you want to finish out on top if you can. But We don't always get the storybook endings. We dramatize the storybook endings. We romanticize them because they make us feel good. Ray Lewis, Michael Stranahan, guys like that winning the Super Bowl in their last
John
career
Elway.
games. John Elway, et cetera, et cetera. But that happens like less than 2%
Manning.
of the time. Yeah, Peyton, that happens less than 2% of the time. We need to understand that sometimes at the end of the day, it's going to be a nightmare scenario for these guys. And Drew Brees, it ends with 3 interceptions. Big Ben ended with 4 interceptions, likely
may
the
not
last
even
2
be
games
done.
of those careers,
Yeah.
sadly. And the Saints, I'll just leave it at this, New Orleans, $100 million over the cap space next season. Good luck with that.
So, Jeff,
Man,
your thoughts on the former Purdue quarterback that we remember affectionately as?
he broke my heart one time. I don't forget that. But honestly, he was just like, and it's easier for me because like I'm older than Drew Brees. Like so it actually does make it easier. But like he just had one of the greatest careers in NFL history. I always admired the way he played within his size and within the system. Like we're talking about a 6 foot tall quarterback
yep.
who is the all-time leading yards, right? Like that doesn't compute in today's the way he turned around New Orleans, that team, the energy that he brought. And you guys know this, like there were certain nights, like there might be a random Monday night game of the year, and it was the funnest thing you ever saw was Drew Brees and Meacham and those guys, absolutely. They only a few weeks ago they did it with Kamar, man, with the 6 touchdowns. Like I just remembered it as a lot of fun. He had surprising hops. Like when he jumped over the pile for those goal line touchdowns, like crazy hot. He could dunk. A lot of people don't know that. Drew Brees can dunk. But just a lot of fun, man. Like he had a great career. He gets to walk out, literally walk out, not carried out on a stretcher. Everything's good, man. Nobody will forget that Super Bowl. Holding his baby in his arm and a confetti. Like good for Drew Brees. Great career. I enjoyed watching it. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Steven, your thoughts on the on Drew Brees?
I'm gonna try to keep it light since Jerg just threw salt in the wound in his take on Drew Brees and the Saints. I remember when he was leaving San Diego used to be right the Chargers, and I don't, it was crazy that they turned the team over to Phillip Rivers. Brees comes over to New Orleans, wins the Super Bowl. After the traumatic Hurricane Katrina, you couldn't write a better story other than after, that tragedy happened in that community that he comes in and, leads this team under a great head coach and, wins the Super Bowl. It's just phenomenal. You look at his career numbers, this sounds like a lot, right? Like he threw for, 80,358 yards. And like, even though that sounds like a lot, we're just, like filthy Americans and like, we don't compute, yards. So if we were to convert this into miles, he threw for 45 miles. That's from where I live in, right at the border of the Florida-Georgia line to St. Augustine, Florida. Like he threw a football from here to St. Augustine, Florida. And that's just nuts. Just super accurate. He's the template for your underrated quarterbacks. Like Baker Mayfield is supposed to come in and be Drew Brees. Good luck, right? Like, and thank you, Trey Faulkner. I said about 100 times. I know. So I appreciate you picking up on that. So Drew Brees is just a phenomenal quarterback, and he's had an incredible career. And I couldn't be happier to see him have some sort of success in the NFL. Unfortunately, he did go out in a unceremonious manner. I hope that Roethlisberger looks at that and takes a page out of that book because, you can have a successful career and on a sour note and people still feel happy for you at the end of it.
Yeah. Rob.
Has he ever won league MVP?
I don't think so.
No, he hasn't.
So I saw Jeff cover his ears earlier when Steven alluded to him leaving at the time San Diego Chargers. Can you imagine how different Jeff's life would be right now if he had a couple Super Bowls, with Drew Brees? Because for those, Drew Brees was essentially on his way to Miami, but the team was scared of his shoulder injury. That he got on a meaningless play on the last game while he was in San Diego.
He got hurt in a cripple too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But with Drew Brees, like Steven said, he was basically the start of this whole trend of, hey, maybe shorter quarterbacks can do something. He's listed at 6 feet. Typical
Probably not that
quarterback. Probably not that tall.
Getting the
Typical
AI
quarterbacks, typical quarterbacks usually about 6'3", 6'5", something like Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, stuff like that. But to come in at 6
We're good,
feet
Trey.
and be the most prolific passer in the history of our game, and to do it year in and year out despite injuries, is the true embodiment of an underdog. Coming out of Purdue, obviously they said he was too small, got hurt in San Diego, turned around the city. Seen him that game, that very first Monday night game back in the Superdome against Atlanta, when they ended up beating Atlanta, got that block punt. Just seen him be a part of that, winning that Super Bowl, like you said, holding his kid. That's all the stuff that when we look back in 5, 10, 15 years, we're not going to say, yeah, but he went out throwing 3 interceptions. We're not going to remember that. We're not going to care about that. We're going to care that he won the Super Bowl. But we're going to remember the 80,000 yards, the Super Bowl, the 2 additional Super Bowls he should have. 1 that he should, 2 I want to say 2 that he should have had.
Yeah.
The Minneapolis Miracle, he should have personally fired that DB. And then
He was a rookie, just saying.
And Marcus Williams is
I do
balling.
agree.
That's like I said, Marcus Williams is good D now. He's a good DB.
But at the moment,
he needed him to be a good DB then and wrap up the tackle.
Right.
Hey, you know what everybody else say? Be up by more than a score.
Yeah.
That's what everybody tell me. If I was on
That's true. That's true.
you should be winning by 40.
Yeah, and then obviously the game a couple years ago against Stevens Rams. I
don't know what you're talking about.
You know damn well what I'm talking about.
Correct.
But
don't know
obviously, yes, thank you to Drew Brees for
they wouldn't have held New England as few points as we did. They might have scored more, but they wouldn't have held them.
They played great that night.
Yeah.
You're looking at it positive. I like that. I respect that.
Yeah.
But again, thank you to Drew Brees
Ifs and buts, Rob. Ifs and
for
buts.
showing us such a great career and for everything he's done for the league in that city of New Orleans.
Yeah.
I want to throw one quick audible, because we're all talking, discussing how Drew Brees went out with the 3 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
This is my personal opinion. That is 100 times better than what Cleveland did, down by 6 to the best team in the league and punting. You waited 20 years to get to the playoffs, and you can punt. All you need is one drive to erase 100 years of history. And you punt. So I just want to say, Drew Brees went out, he didn't throw it, you guys know as well as I do. If that was week 8, Drew Brees wouldn't have thrown all 3 of those. He tried some, you know what I'm saying? But I would much rather my quarterback.
Let's also talk about the fact that my man came up with half of his body broken a couple.
That's what I'm saying. I would rather my man try something than punt.
Mm-hmm.
Down by 6. If at the beginning of the year I tell the Cleveland Browns, all right, you're going to be down by 6. In a divisional game against Kansas City Chiefs, it's 4th down. What do? They'd all be like, "Oh, we would go for the win." No, you punted. So
yeah,
good for you, Brees. Go 10 interception before you punt.
Yeah, and maybe that's because of the Henny effect. But I'm gonna go to you. Go with you first, Mo. I'm gonna go with you, Mo, about Drew Brees.
Sorry, Mo.
I love everybody made good points, and it's one of those, bro. It's one of those times to appreciate greatness. And everybody brought up a point of where they appreciated Drew Brees' greatness. So there's never an argument with anybody's point on appreciating his greatness. But for me, bro, I love Drew Brees. I'm a big Cowboys fan. Everybody know that. You guys have come to know me over the past year. But I'm a big Cowboys fan. But I've always loved Drew Brees. Growing up, I always wanted to, in our minds, bro, we're going to be superstar athletes. So, in my mind, bro, Drew Brees was the guy I looked up to. He was a 6-foot quarterback. I got told at a young age, doctors were able to kind of predict how tall you're going to be. And I got told I'm going to be anywhere between 5'10" and 6'2". So, in my head, bro, I'm going to be Drew Brees, in my mind. So, I always loved Drew Brees. I always watched the Saints. I've been a big Drew Brees fan. Peyton Manning is also another guy I've loved as far as a quarterback. But it's just, bro, it's one of this conversation is just a time to appreciate greatness and to realize that yeah, Drew Brees, he's one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen of all time. Like, we can name the all-time quarterbacks. He's not the GOAT, but he's one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever watched of all time, especially of this era. Like, you put him in the conversation with Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. We know who's better, and we measure him there. But the fact of the matter is Drew Brees is still one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen play. And I just got to salute to Drew Brees if this is it, which I kind of hope it's it. The way he's played this year, besides the couple of weeks that he missed of injury, bro, this is it. Like, this should be it. And like Jerg said, it's not the storybook ending that we want to see greatness go out on. Like, we would love to see, Manning went out on a Super Bowl. Strahan went out winning the championship. But everybody's not going to get that opportunity. But that doesn't mean it's not time to hang it up. And with Drew Brees' performance, it's time to hang it up. Let us appreciate how great you were as a quarterback and how great you were as a small quarterback. Like, he might go as the greatest, and like Steven brought it up, bro, Drew Brees set the template of how we measure smaller quarterbacks, how we measure 6-foot quarterbacks. We look at Baker Mayfield and think Drew Brees because we've seen a 6-foot quarterback be great. So there's no reason you can't use your size as an excuse. But, I love Drew Brees. I hope, he goes on to continue to be successful in the next life. I'm just a big fan of Drew Brees, bro. So it hurts that he had to go out that way. Outside of my Cowboys, bro, the Saints have been the team I've always rooted for. And the big reason why is because they always have, for my lifetime, they've had a lot of Ohio State players on their team. And I always wish Ohio State players the greatest, bro. Like, when they go somewhere else, I understand we have division rivalries, but I love Ohio State before anything else. So when I see Ohio State guys on other teams be great, I love to watch the team have success. And the Saints have been big, with Michael Thomas and Marshawn Lattimore of current. They had Von Bell at one point. We could go back to Will Smith, rest in peace. But it just seems like they've been big on Ohio State players. So that's been a reason why I've always watched the Saints. But I just hope Drew Brees calls it quits. Like Jerg said, bro, look, you're not going to go out on the storybook ending because if he comes back next year, I doubt the Saints win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? There's a lot of upside for a lot of teams to build.
I think he goes to Miami for a year and goes to the playoff.
Yeah, but my biggest thing is just, bro, go out on your high horse. Your high horse isn't Manning's where you rode out into the sunset on the Super Bowl. But just go out on your high horse where you have guys like us here appreciating your
I'll say this, though. Peyton Manning looked way worse his last year than Drew.
Yeah, that's why when Mo said that, I was like, I understood what you were saying. Like, he did win.
We know that Peyton Manning wasn't the Peyton Manning that
we just saw
defense
last
carried
week.
him. Yeah, his defense carried him to a Super Bowl. I understand that. But the
damn near carried him.
but Manning was able to ride off in the sunset with winning a championship. Like, he won the Super him and his team won the Super Bowl. He retired. That's just my thing with that is I would love to see Drew Brees. You know what, bro? Just call it quits. Let us appreciate your greatness. He's not a scrutinized quarterback. We don't kill Drew Brees for things he's done. And I think
when Drew Brees goes to the Rams, do they win a Super Bowl next year?
Heck yeah, bring him my way.
That's possible.
My way.
Now, to be honest,
he's going to feel good.
Entertain that idea.
Bring him my way.
Entertain that idea, Jeff. That's very possible.
He's just hurt, man. I'm telling you, his arms. He's just hurt.
I don't want to see Steven happy, so it's not going to happen. I want him to keep complaining about Jared Goff the same way y'all want to see me keep crying about the Cowboys. I want to see all your guys' teams nothing but the worst. So I don't want to see Drew Brees in a Rams uniform and go in the Super Bowl because then that means
I'm just saying I don't go into every year saying that the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, I don't.
You're right. I don't go in saying the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl.
Stop lying.
Anyway, I went on like a 2-game win streak. The Cowboys are going to the NFC Championship.
Jalen Ramsey's the best defensive player on the Rams. There's a hot take for you. He's more hot take. Hey, we saw he held that team together. I saw it.
It's not a hot take.
Aaron Donald had bruised midsection.
Right, I'm saying Ramsey held it together. Like they had it.
I don't know about held it together. He got cooked.
Hold on. But it happens. Here's a hot take for you, Jeff.
Devontae Adams played really well.
Jalen Ramsey is the best corner we've seen since Deion Sanders. There's a hot take for you. Jalen Ramsey is the best corner we've seen since Deion
Just
Sanders.
out of control,
And
man.
I'm saying
Yeah,
This is not
Right.
overreaction
Someone
Monday.
some
Right.
Darrell Reeves. Now, stop it,
Hold on,
please.
let's just stick with Drew Brees now.
Just to throw it off a little
Let's,
bit.
yeah.
Jalen
Yeah.
Ramsey is the
Better
best
than
corner
Sherman.
we've seen
Overrated.
since
Deion
Deion
Sanders.
Sanders. That's it.
I don't know. I mean,
All right, I'm done.
It's
What's in that red cup?
I mean, he's only had what 5 years. So let's kind of
Steven,
simmer it
anything is
down.
possible.
I tell you who's the best.
But yeah,
Daryl Green.
and Tyler
Yeah,
Higbee.
yeah.
Cornerback I ever saw.
Yeah, so let's really back in, guys. Yeah, 'cause we talking about
All right, I'm
DBs
done.
now.
I feel bad for you,
Yeah.
Coach. You got a tough job.
So,
bro.
He's like, I ain't sending you links.
oh yeah, so I got him. I'm matter of fact, I'm gonna put you in the frame, Chris, and then I'm gonna talk about Drew Brees and get that squared away. So with Drew Brees,
I'm gonna take my headphones out.
So
Tom
yeah.
Brady's biggest
So-
fan here.
all right,
As a Giants fan,
So my thoughts about Drew Brees, and it's funny to think, you guys have made great points. I think what's interesting about it all is, like you said, the template for other guys, and also a local guy here, a 2-time Richmond Times-Dispatch Player of the Year, Russell Wilson. He was the other guy who we thought about as far as a short quarterback that wasn't going to make it, but everybody looked at him and said, well, if Drew Brees made it, he did it. And I just think looking at just how not influential, but just how Drew Brees kind of changed the NFL in more ways than one. The whole situation, like with New Orleans, and Jeff, Jeff, you remember they used to be the Aints. If we talk about how bad Cleveland was, this
Brown
was a
paper
downtrodden. Yeah, this was a downtrodden franchise.
I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you brought it up.
And this was a team, literally, they were going to move. Like, there was really no business for them to be back in that Superdome with the messed up roof and all type of stuff. All that stuff, they were getting ready to go to Las Vegas, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, you think about the Raiders going to Las Vegas. No, the Saints would have been there. And then you think about Drew Brees' situation in San Diego, and it's funny because at first I thought he was going to outlive Phillip Rivers in the inverse, which is very weird to think that they got rid of him to kind of make room for the young guy, the NC State quarterback. But then Jeff's point. So now Drew Brees was on his way to Miami. Guess who was the quarterback guess who was the coach at Miami? Close your ears, Jeff. Nick Saban. I guarantee you, if Nick Saban would have had a Drew Brees for 15 years, we'd have been talking about Brees. We talk about Peyton and Brees. We would have been talking about Saban and Brees probably would have been playing for Miami. So I'm sorry, Jeff, to close your ears, but that's a little tough. But you look at how he essentially changed the fortunes of those franchises. But like you said, I think he's done. You can just tell it was a finality. You can tell just the whole, like him and his wife is almost like they were slow dancing, like it was like the last song of the night. It was kind of
it was like how Endgame ended.
Right. And it's kind of how that was. Yeah. And so it was like a finality. Like I said, he's done. He's getting ready to go to NBC, and then he'll get his bust in Canton in 5 more years. It would be down the road. Yeah, he'll be NBC next year. But yeah, I'm talking about going to Canton in 5 years.
Now he ought to be in Canton next year.
They ain't gonna do that. Yeah, because Peyton Manning, he just get in. Yeah, he'll get in next week.
He's not a receiver. He'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
Like
he'll be there.
Once Brady retires, like that's another.
Yeah,
like, he's in that category. Even
they should put Brady in now.
So he'll be So
the minute he announces his retirement, he's got a busted can. Like we know.
I didn't want to.
So
change the league.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, kind of. So like I said, he'll be in Canton in 5 years. We'll be going down the road to Jeff neighborhood, spend the night with Jeff, and go down to Canton and catch Drew Brees. And catch Drew Brees Hall of Fame ceremony in 5 years from now. So before we go to the next topic, what's going on, Chris? Let's talk about Drew Brees in a positive way. Let's not bring Brady into the conversation. That's next week or the Super Bowl, whenever. Well, let's talk about Drew Brees.
He had a good career.
Yeah,
he definitely had a good career. All-time leading in passing yards. A lot of good things. did not play well at all. He definitely struggled in that game, but great career. Wish he would have went out better. Because he just didn't have it arm wise. His arm looked shot.
Yeah.
And then we saw that before that. That he just didn't have the arm strength. To push the ball down the field, and that really showed in this game. But great career. I mean, the fact that we saw his arm like dangling, in that Chargers game, and people thought he was done.
Yeah.
Like essentially, they picked Culpepper over him, because back in the day, I mean, you take the knee over the shoulder.
Close your ear, Jeff. Close your ear, Jeff.
Yeah, so it's a hell of a career. If this is it for him, great career. Like you said, a bunch of records, and overachieve big time. Definitely overachieve. Big time. So hell of a career for Drew, and there's nothing. He went out, fighting like a warrior. It was killing him that he just couldn't make the plays he could have, and but hell of a career for Drew.
Yeah, big time.
So,
So, fellas,
it sounded real hard to say that. Just want to throw that out there. Sounded real
he
tough
handled it
for you to give him
eloquently.
his flowers.
I thought he did good.
we want to make it positive.
Keep it professional.
We kept it. That's what we wanted. We wanted the perfectly executed. So the final topic tonight, fellas, let's talk about Urban Meyer. So Urban Meyer is now hired as the new head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jerg, I'm gonna go with your thoughts. Your thoughts on the hire, and your thoughts on the Jags hiring Urban Meyer.
I'm only going to call it a success if he is doing what he's saying he's doing, which I'm sure he will, and hires the right offensive coordinator and right defensive coordinator. This is nothing against Urban Meyer, but it is a proven fact. When these college coaches that lack for a better term have full control and are essentially, I hate to say such a negative word for it, but when they are dictators at the college level, they control every minute, every second of the players' lives.
But Urban wasn't like that.
Believe it or not, coaches, it gets to the brain. They get an ego. And I'm not saying Urban wouldn't deserve to have an ego. 3 national championships in his college career. He definitely deserves to have some gravitas to his career. But he knows that when college coaches go to the pros, it doesn't always work out. Whether it's the wrong situation, whether it's issues with management and ownership. Washington early in the 2000s, you guys kind of tried something.
Early 2000s, mid 2000s, late 2000s.
Ball coach. All right, don't put. All right,
Meyer.
Yeah, you thought it was funny we brought up
Culpepper. Meyer is learning from mistakes of his peers in the past, and he plans on hiring guys to handle the play calling and for him to be the leader. And I think if they do that, and he should, honestly, between him and Shad Khan, it should not be a conversation. Let Urban pick the team. What are you doing? Let Urban pick the team. If it's between him and Khan, I would trust Urban above him. That's without question. If that goes according to plan, Jacksonville will be fine. This will be a good hire a couple years down the line. They will be relevant again, to say the least. But if he steps, if he needs to set the culture right away. That's what has to happen. He needs to set the culture and understanding right away. Because if he goes too hard too soon, it's going to be an issue. He's going to be a couple players on that team eventually will be paid more than him. You cannot talk to these professional athletes like they're college kids. That's all I'm saying. If he avoids doing that, it'll be fine. If for a split second he says it to the wrong player, like we saw happen in Houston, it could go like that. I'm not saying he will make that mistake, but it's always possible with a guy like that. But I do think it's the right hire.
So as long as you don't call your player slugs.
Yeah, bunch of slugs.
Yeah. So Jeff, your thoughts on your boy Urban Meyer?
Yeah, y'all piggyback on what some of Jerk said. So here's the advantages, the difference between Urban and a lot of these college guys that go. Meyer had probably, I think, the highest paid coaching staff when he was at Ohio State. Like the assistant coaches, the coordinators. Brian Hartline's our wide receiver coach. He makes $1 million a year. So Urban was always a CEO. He only coached special teams. He is a great football mind, like coming up through Notre Dame and his younger years. But he delegated power years ago, which is what Jerk is talking about. Can they do that? He's not coming in as like we saw Kingsbury come in as the hot offensive guy or whatever. Like Urban was a CEO years ago at Ohio State. He let Larry Johnson. He let your offensive, defensive coordinators. He let the position coaches. He let them all do their job. And he's been managing personalities and stuff, which I think gives him a chance because he's not going to come in. He's not implementing a system. Like I know a lot of people think that what they see at Ohio State is his system. That's what it's not his system. Like I promise. Like he always carried offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators with him. Like whether it was Florida, then when he went to Ohio State, Urban didn't run the offense.
Utah.
Like if you watch an Ohio State game when it went bad, the reason Urban was upset because he honestly didn't know what the play call was going to be. And I don't mean as a negative. He let his guys do their job, which is the only possibility to succeed in the NFL. So I think he's got a chance. The other option is it might just be a cash grab and he's 2 years and out. Like he might be a Spurrier. Like that's very possible. Like I'm just saying Spurrier's the best example of that, coach, not an insult. Like you guys know that he wasn't in it to win it. Like there's no way that anybody can think the Spurrier was serious about what he was doing. He took that money and went back to college, and Urban will probably do the same thing. But if he doesn't, I think he's got a chance because he's already a CEO mentality, and he's been that way for years. I think coming out of Florida would have been a mistake when he was still the control freak that Jurg is referring to with some of these guys. But I think now, I mean, he checked out Ohio State years ago. Like he hasn't been the coach at Ohio State for a while.
Yeah. Steven.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting the way that we're talking about him. It makes it sound like head coaching may not be what he wants to do. Like if he's that CEO mentality, like is it possible that he's like getting his foot in the door to eventually be in the front office? Like I don't think that would be a far reach either, because I mean if coaching's not his heart, but he still wants to be involved with football somehow and doesn't want to deal with the stresses of player management and traveling and all that stuff. Like maybe he's just trying to get his foot in the door to be in the front office, a la Tom Coughlin, who oddly enough he's succeeding.
Steven, I want to run something by you real quick because
yes, sir.
I'm not to interrupt you, but this is my comparison. Could he be another Mike Tomlin? Mike Tomlin really doesn't coach anything, but he's a great head coach.
But he's also a motivator. Like he has that motivator mentality. Yeah. Like, and I think that
But that's what I mean. That's his job, right? Is to control, is to manage the team more like a baseball manager than a coach. Is that possible? That's what I'm getting at.
I don't know because I still feel like Mike Tomlin still has a say in the way that the game is called. You know what I mean? Like I think that he's more hand. Yeah, and I could very well be wrong, but I get the impression. I think that Meyer is kind of passive, at this stage of his career, and I think that he could potentially be trying to get his foot in the door in the front office. And if he's rubbing elbows with Shad Khan, who Chris and I talk about this all the time, like this is like his hobby. Like he just wants to spend money on football and like build a successful organization. And I think that Meyer seeing that, I think that he could be like, hey, let me come in. I'm a pretty successful football mind. Oh, and if I do well enough, like let me be in the front office. I'll take care of this for you. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Tom Coughlin, but not as old school, I guess is a good way to put it.
Not the same type, but I'm saying that progression.
I understand. That's what I'm saying. Like he won't be like as Iron Fist as Tom Coughlin, where you have to dress a certain way, you show up at a certain time, and
now Urban don't give a shit.
Everybody do 50 push-ups before practice starts, and bring your lunch pail mentality to professional sports, like Jerg was alluding to, with the amount of money that they'll bring. I don't see Meyer like getting in anyone's face and being like, you have to do this. And I know that you also agreed with that, but I was just speaking to that point that you brought up earlier. Like I see him potentially working his way up into a front office.
I like it.
Rob, your thoughts?
I don't know. To be completely honest, I don't know. Just with the track record the college coaches have coming into the NFL, is he going to be a CEO type of head coach? And honestly, I don't think Urban Meyer is the kind of person that needs an audition as a head coach to get into the front office job. If he wanted that VP role or that president of football operations, I'm sure he could get it if he really wanted it. And is his health gonna hold up? Because the last 2 times he retired from coaching has been due to his health, but yet he keeps coming back. I don't know.
There was that pretty mess up reason why he retired. That I think he used his health as a cop out. But yeah,
Yeah, he's a con artist too, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Right.
y'all know. Shoot, y'all know. We're not saying anything that y'all
Yeah.
know.
Never trust what Urban Meyer says. Because
Yeah.
if he says I don't want to coach, I'm interested in coaching, that means he's interested in coaching. He
Hey,
just
Urban
waiting for
Meyer,
the
what do you
right
think of
offer.
the scandal that came up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll just
so
happen to
good.
quit. My
Right.
chest hurts.
So before we get that
He's a
going,
little bit of,
all right,
glad it's my turn.
let's get Ohio State
he
going.
did it at Utah too. Like
Ohio State.
Stop it. Hey, so
Right.
there's two things with the success
That's
of
true.
Urban Meyer. So one is the quarterback situation. So before everybody questions now that Urban Meyer's in Jacksonville, they have the number 1 pick. Will he go Justin Fields? Now listen to me. If he's a smart guy, he doesn't go Justin Fields. He don't even think about it. He drafts Trevor Lawrence. Because as a head coach, your first move is going to be based off this draft. Forget free agency. We don't, whatever happens there, happens there. His first move and call as a head coach is going to be the NFL draft. NBA, I'm sorry. Chris and Steven, y'all got me on NBA mode. But
I ain't say anything.
no. It's just looking at y'all. But the NFL draft and that number 1 pick is going to hold a lot of weight of the rest of his coaching career. You have to go Trevor Lawrence because here's the chance you have to take as a coach calling who I'm going to draft. Trevor Lawrence is the safe pick. We all expect him to be. He's the greatest prospect since Andrew Luck. People are comparing him to a prospect as far as Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning. You have to go Trevor Lawrence. But you have to go Trevor Lawrence and take away your Ohio State bias because here's the thing. If you go Trevor Lawrence and ultimately he becomes a bust, it will be okay to accept that fact as a Jaguars fan. But if you go Justin Fields and Justin Fields is a bust and Trevor Lawrence becomes a superstar, nobody in the Jacksonville organization, hell, nobody around the league, none of us we will crucify Urban Meyer for making that decision. So he has to think about that. One is you have to go Trevor Lawrence. You have to be adamant on going Trevor Lawrence unless you decide to say, I want to take Gardner Minshew and get weapons around him. That's the only way I will be okay with whoever he drafts in the number 1 pick.
I think we'd be more forgiving of Fields than Gardner Minshew, bro.
Yeah.
No. Listen to me. Just let me finish. All I'm saying is the only way I won't be okay with him taking any other quarterback other than Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 pick. Now,
you're right about the
if he takes a receiver, if he takes Devontae Smith and says, you know what, we got Chart, we're going to get Devontae Smith, and we're going to build around Minshew.
Bro, we got
but
Gardner.
listen to me. Y'all not listening to me.
I'm listening to you.
Mo, you might get fired after this.
No. Listen, all I'm saying.
Cruz, you ready to be the VP?
No. All I'm saying, I
can't believe what I'm hearing.
I wouldn't agree.
Gardner Minshew's no Chad Henne.
No. But if he comes in a situation and says, Gardner Minshew is my guy and I'm going to build around him, cool. I don't agree with it.
But he's done.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
He's going to go back to college.
No, he will be done. He will be done. Y'all attack me for saying that. What I'm saying is, we all know Jacksonville is going to take the quarterback. There should be no question that Trevor Lawrence is your guy, not Justin Fields.
I understand what he's trying to say.
No, I don't get what he's trying to say.
Somebody brought this to my attention. I don't remember.
He's the one that said Minshew.
No, listen. So I don't remember where I seen it, so I can't give credit to the person that I seen it. Could Urban Meyer drafting Trevor Lawrence be detrimental to Trevor Lawrence? Now, I know that's a crazy question, and that's not what we're talking about, but could it be detrimental to Trevor Lawrence? Because here's the thing. Outside of Alex Smith, quarterbacks that have been under Urban Meyer have looked like great NFL prospects and have vanished. Look at
he runs an
JT Barrett.
RPO offense.
But look at JT Barrett. Look at Dwayne Haskins. Look at Tim Tebow. And that goes to Jerg's point that the key to his success My two things for the key to Urban Meyer's success is A, draft Trevor Lawrence, and B, draft
Gardner
the right
Minshew.
offensive coordinator, or not draft, but hire the right offensive coordinator and the right defensive coordinator that will allow the growth of Trevor Lawrence to be nothing but success.
Okay.
Because quarterbacks under Urban Meyer's helm have shown that when they jump to the next level, they're not it. So my thing with Urban Meyer is allow your offensive coordinator to make sure it's a guy that you trust can develop Trevor Lawrence. Because if it's not, Urban Meyer has to step in. His development of quarterbacks have not been that great. So my thing is get Trevor Lawrence. That's the first move you have to make as a head coach. Draft Trevor Lawrence. Nobody's gonna crucify you if Trevor Lawrence becomes a bust.
You got to
That's
look at
just
it.
gonna be a surprise to the world.
Nobody ever
The
looked
right
at it
offensive
this way.
coordinator to coach.
Urban Meyer got Alex Smith into the NFL. Urban Meyer got Dwayne Haskins into the NFL. Urban Meyer got JT Barrett a look in the NFL. Like maybe it's
But that's not enough.
He got Tim Tebow into the NFL. The guy clearly
But that's not his fault going to the NFL.
Yeah,
it's almost like It's almost like he got into the NFL, but
how much money made Tim Tebow?
But you can't blame their failures on Urban Meyer. He
That's
got them there. Right.
Okay, so why
Urban Meyer doesn't go to Utah? We don't
agree 100%.
So who do we blame for the fact that Ohio State quarterbacks have no success in the NFL? Who do we
The
blame?
Ohio State quarterbacks.
The Ohio State quarterbacks.
We're saying that
It's not all on them though.
JT Barrett doesn't go to the NFL without.
So
right.
we don't put,
And
but at the
without
same
Urban
time-
Meyer, they suck.
But do they though? Like we've had quarterbacks before.
You just
Urban
said they
Meyer.
did.
Like, they don't
Just
suck.
said they all suck.
Yeah.
No, they suck
Alex
in the NFL. They suck in it
Without
Yeah,
Urban
but his
Meyer.
job is
But that's-
his
but-
job isn't what they do in the NFL. His job to get them to the NFL.
But
What
Yeah,
happened
but-
after that?
but-
He
but-
got
but-
out.
Is to win national
But it's
championship.
funny they
know what?
but I understand what you mean. Does his game translate to that? I get your point now, Mo. Does it translate?
What
go down a little bit.
I didn't make
No.
that.
I
You
get
said Gardner Minshew should be the starting quarterback.
No,
Minshew
no,
receiver with the number one pick.
I
No.
get what you're
Chad
saying.
Henne,
I get what
Jacksonville.
you're
That's
saying,
what's
Mo.
wrong with y'all. That's what's
Yeah,
wrong
yeah.
with y'all.
No, wait.
Y'all
Here's what
trying to make that
everybody
like I
else
said. Y'all are
Urban
trying to make it
Meyer-
like I said. Gardner Minshew needs to be the starting quarterback. No, what I said is if he
But
goes
Mo-
quarterback and doesn't go Trevor
But
Lawrence,
Mo, listen
he's
to
wrong.
me.
But if he
But
says
how
I'm
many-
gonna go
how-
Gardner Minshew and draft weapons, then it might
I'm
be
taking
not-
applications.
He not.
I'm strictly addressing the OSU Urban quarterback slander. What I'm saying is Urban had Braxton Miller for 3 years. He had JT Barrett for
He's a wide
4
receiver,
years,
right?
and he had Dwayne Haskins. He was only there that long. Like
Mhm.
nobody
Yeah,
like Braxton.
Well,
He didn't.
JT Barrett was at Ohio State for 87 years.
Braxton made it to the. That's what I'm saying. But his quarterbacks played for so long. Like
Right.
the examples of failures are.
But he also had Chris Leak.
And
He also had Chris Leak. He also had Tim Tebow.
Tebow
Like,
made an
you don't have to
AFC
just-
championship
You don't
game.
have to just
saying.
come on,
No,
Steven. You can.
But he had Alex-
No, he made it to the divisional round.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
Alex,
Yeah.
Alex
Smacked in the
playing in the
divisional round.
NFL.
Steven, we could all went and threw that swing route. Stop it. That doesn't
But,
matter
yeah.
about that one
What I'm
play
saying is
that he made. We all could have threw that pass. That's beside. I get what you're
He's a
saying.
winner.
But my point
Mike
is,
Taylor messed up on that coverage.
but
Exactly.
my
That
point
was a
is,
Steelers
my
mess up.
point is,
It's not Tebow's
like,
fault.
the quarterbacks that be getting, I know measuring the college and NFL ranks is different, but what I'm saying is the first thing. Okay, you know what? Let me reverse. The first
Alex
thing he
Smith was
has
the
to
number one
do-
pick. I'm just saying.
The first, okay, and
Out of
has he
Utah.
been
Out of Utah.
has
Out of
he
Utah.
been-
And he's
but
spread
has he
offense.
been-
In a
has his
spread
career
offense.
gone as a great number one pick? No.
Who? Alex Smith?
Yeah, no.
He's still playing.
He's still playing.
But that doesn't mean he's a great number one pick, though. No, and
No,
that
but-
He was
Better
more
than
But for a
Yeah,
quarterback,
I'm telling you right
for
now,
a
this
quarterback to still
conversation
play
never-
16 years later, that's
playing
a great
16
speed.
years in the league. That's
Yeah.
Right.
That's
He's
not
done
good
the
for
most.
first overall. We don't need to be
I mean, he's
nice
not
to
Aaron
this guy.
Rodgers.
He's made
Don't get
all
me
his money.
wrong. Don't get me. He's not
Thank you,
Aaron
Jared.
Rodgers.
He went
But-
number one overall. We don't have to be be nice to the guy and say, thank God he's still playing in there.
Remember that when I talk about Baker Mayfield. Then I'm just saying,
Right.
like we got it. We
Steven,
can't talk
I
about
hate
both.
Baker Mayfield. Crucial.
I'm just saying.
I hate Baker.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Baker-
So Chris, all right.
Baker
Yeah.
wanted a flag on
All
my
right,
field.
yeah.
I hate Baker.
Ohio hates us
all
after
right.
this conversation.
So Chris,
Good.
Chris, your thoughts on Urban Meyer? On the coach hire for Jacksonville.
I get why Jacksonville did it because they wanted, to get the splash.
They had Gardner Minshew.
But they have Gardner Minshew, so they're
all
fine.
right.
You know,
Hey.
All right, leave Mo alone.
That's not fair to him.
Make it
Come on.
like
All right,
I'm
yeah,
just
leave-
gonna-
right.
I think he took the job because first of all, they have a lot of cap and they also have the number 1 pick. So I mean, that's very intriguing. You come in and you literally get the keys to the team and you just do whatever you want. Essentially, the Cons are going to give him freedom to do what he wants and pick his players and all that. So I mean, who wouldn't want to take that job? It's in Florida, and
No, you nailed it right there, Chris. That's a
Yeah.
huge part. He ain't taking this job in Green Bay or
yeah, he's not taking a
You better believe I'm driving
in
my
a cold
40
weather
minutes to
city
go watch
or Minnesota or whatever. One of these jobs are where it's cold. I think this helps, and I think he just got bored of college because I think if he would have went back to college, he would have took the Texas job because Texas would have gave him anything he wanted. And you don't think the recruiting, like Texas recruiting, like
back to college.
they have the most college. I mean, the most the biggest facilities and all that. That would have been perfect for him. They would have loved him.
Recruiting.
And I thought
He
when
would
they
have stayed in
fired
the
Tom
state.
Herman, that was going to be they were going to go full
I think
board
he
and
hates
go
that
get him.
aspect of college, though.
But I think
the
that's more
recruiting.
college is more stressful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
And-
and Chris, I'm glad
Yeah.
you said that because I said that before. I
Mhm.
think he hates some of the aspects of college football. Of
Yeah.
even though NFL head coaching is year round, there's a little bit of downtime where you prepare for the draft. Where where Urban Meyer has been flying here and there to
That's
get
good.
guys to come to
Right.
his school. So that's what I think he hated that part of college
Yeah,
football.
because listen,
Let's-
he left Florida because of health issues. He left Ohio. I mean, who leaves Florida when the Florida's at its height? Who leaves Ohio State when you're literally
He left
every
But
year
we
you're in
know,
the Final
but we
Four.
know why.
Well,
Right,
we
we
know
know
why he
why.
left Ohio
So,
State.
and that's to Chris' point where essentially he don't have to worry about those situations no more. So like when the whole health thing come into factor, he doesn't have to worry about the NCAA violations because ain't no kid gonna get tattoo for some sweatpants or whatever.
Yeah.
But
He has to be control
Right.
of his players because we saw what happened at Florida, and I know
that's
true.
true.
But he has to keep his
and
players.
nothing happened at Ohio State though in 9 years. Like be honest.
Right. Well,
A couple.
What?
Just
Yeah.
says
Nothing like Florida though.
Nothing
Nothing
like
like Florida.
Florida.
but-
Nothing happened in Ohio State with his
Nothing happened
reign
in
in
Ohio
Ohio State. He took on the tattoos.
he took on the situation. Yeah,
That
that's
wasn't
true.
him. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
But yeah,
Nothing happened.
Okay.
He wasn't the head
Let's just say
coach
it's
at
not.
Ohio State with the
Let's just say
tattoo
it
scandal.
wasn't like Florida. How about that? I'll keep it.
Yeah,
at that.
we right,
It
right,
wasn't like
right,
Florida.
right.
And if he
Without
controls
him.
that, if he knows how to manage his players, because he got out of hand at Florida. Like we've heard the stories. We all know Aaron Hernandez. All the Pouncey. We
Oof.
know everything. Like,
Not supposed to say that name.
we know that it got out of hand. Like he had all the talent in the world, so he overcame that. But in the pros, that can get ugly, and so. But I think he'll be fine.
Especially in Duval.
I think he'll be fine, and like it's a job that like I said, he's gonna get full. He's gonna have time too. I think they're gonna be able to give him time to build this thing up and see what they can do. Like having a normal pick is gonna be having that quarterback, and they have some good weapons. They have a good running game.
receivers.
They got some talent. So I mean, the quarterback. If they figure out the quarterback position, then they'll
What
be
are
fine.
the chances
But,
that his number 1 pick is actually Deshaun Watson? Has anybody thought about that?
potentially.
They got extra
I don't
picks.
think so. I don't think Houston gonna trade within the division.
That's too much. And that's a division. You wouldn't want to
you
do
might
that.
have to
They might have a choice, but they're a playoff team if they get Deshaun Watson. Right?
Has Houston made great decisions though? I mean, being
Yeah.
real,
I mean,
like,
yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
you
Larry-
think-
Jacksonville might get him for a 2nd-round pick if you,
Right.
you call him on the
but,
right day.
If Bill O'Brien was
Yeah.
still there, then yeah.
they don't even have a
Probably.
head coach right now. So I mean,
well, they'll get
They don't
it.
even
I
know
mean,
who
they
it's
could
a
get
matter of
talked.
time.
They could get talked into a bad trade right now.
They're
without
gonna
a head
hire
coach. I'm
a
just
coach
saying.
that we don't even
Right.
know.
Not
They got
for
hired
Deshaun.
I
though.
think they make great decisions.
Yeah,
Deshaun,
But,
Deshaun is going to be a haul. Like you,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
trading for Deshaun, it's going to cost you.
Yeah,
like, I
it's
don't
gonna
They
care
got extra.
who the
They got
GM
extra
or who
picks
the
though.
coach. Yeah, they
Right.
do, and it would be enticing
Yeah.
for Houston
And
to
they got
look at
cap
it
space. They can just
with
trade him
being
straight
able
up.
to
for
get
picks.
Trevor
Houston has
Lawrence.
leverage.
Like,
Nah,
it
but
would
I
be
wouldn't trade in the
enticing.
I
division.
wouldn't trade in the division, but
I
yeah.
wouldn't
So,
trade in the division.
but yeah, I think the Urban Meyer hire is interesting, and I think he's only perfect for Jacksonville because essentially, like, I wouldn't see him going anywhere else. And like to Chris's point, it's a splash because at the end of the day, we know what Khan is. Khan is about the big name, the sexy name, and essentially with
Like
him,
Minshew.
Urban Meyer, yeah, no, but leave Mo alone.
Do you
Mo
think
is-
there was another
Mo-
job that he
Mo-
would have took?
Mo
You
was
think there's
just.
another
No
job
way.
that
I
Urban
don't
would
think
have
so.
took?
I don't think so.
Like this is the
Houston,
only
he
job
wants
he
the
would.
I
first
think
pick.
because like you said, he can build the foundation. He has $100 million in cap. He can literally, like you said, he got the keys to the car. And
He's
then
close to home.
and he's close to home.
Yeah,
And
that's
then this
that's key.
essentially with that name, that could put butts in seats in Jacksonville, which they really
I'm gonna
need.
go watch him just because.
right.
of that.
And they're
Right,
allowed
and that's the
fans.
thing about it.
And they're
right,
allowed
and that's the
fans as
thing.
of now. So
And
great
then you
stadium.
think about it, then coupled with a Trevor Lawrence, who's like probably one of the biggest college superstars that we've had in this, at least somewhat in this generation.
Never
So
heard
you
of
couple that anyway.
Who
So
is that?
you
No
look
Chad
at those
Henne.
type of,
He's
so
no
you look
Chad
at
Henne.
those.
Okay.
So you look at those components. Like you said, I don't think he would have took any other job but the
Nah,
Jacksonville.
yeah.
And I don't think
Jacksonville
he
was
would
the
have
only
even
job.
got another job essentially
Coach,
if it
you
wasn't
nailed
for
it
this
with cap space.
Jacksonville.
You
Because
nailed
I
it with
think-
cap space.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, and this is really going to save their franchise. Like you talked about it earlier, Jeff, where essentially we thought this team was going to be, they almost got a one-way ticket to London,
Mhm.
but now there's not going to be any tarps on that field. I mean, not on the field, but in them seats. They're gonna pack that place out.
oh, this is definitely
and
a
he,
money
and he
move.
needs that,
And
right?
Jacksonville,
Right.
Jacksonville definitely, like, when
Right.
you look at it as the state of Florida, with being from Florida, like the state of Florida and football
Yeah.
is practically a religion. So to
Yeah.
have the Miami Dolphins, who are on the up and coming, they're right there. We think the Dolphins
Finally.
are right there being a playoff team.
Yeah.
The Bucs are about to play in NFC Championship. If the Jaguars are on the up and coming, to possibly have all three Florida NFL teams, not only can that do a lot for the NFL itself, but it'll do a lot for the state of Florida itself.
Bermuda
And when you
Triangle.
look at it,
Yeah.
like all y'all
Yeah.
said, he might not take that because the thing about it is, outside of the few other states that you would consider taking a job in the NFL, Florida has no state taxes. So he's maximizing his money. He's close to home. Like Steven said, like, there's so many points in why this was the one job in the NFL that he is willing to take, because it's
Yeah.
really in
Let's
a
remember,
home
he's taking a
mindset.
pay cut from Ohio State.
Right. And the thing about it, and like you said, and I think, like you said, and I don't even think it's gonna be a situation where he's gonna like grab, because I think honestly, to be the quiet as kept, I think Ohio State was like the holy grail for him. So to me, it's almost like I don't think he would
worked out
take
all right.
another job. I don't think he would
Sure
take
did,
it,
yeah.
because to me, I think Ohio State, even it's his whole roots. You guys know, you remember Jeff. He was like a GA, and I mean, he's an Ohio State born, bred and brewed.
I
Yeah,
think there's
he's
only
right.
one other job he takes. It's Notre Dame. I think that would be the only job.
But-
if it was
yeah, but-
open,
But
that would be the only job he would take.
Yeah, but
He
I don't think it's
still
gonna be
wind up-
open
He
in
will
the
still wind
foreseeable
up-
future.
he will
But I don't
still
think
wind up
right.
with him.
And like we talked about earlier, he doesn't have to worry about all those certain situations with the NCAA.
Yeah,
And so he'll, and I think,
Restriction on getting players that he wants.
and I think he will get and the thing with him, and he's going to get the personnel that he needs to get the job done. So I'm not really concerned about as far as his staffing. He'll get what he needs.
CP
And that's
Carroll.
essentially what's what he needs. Well, yeah, potentially, yeah.
But
But,
Pete Carroll
like-
is a successful head coach in the NFL. If you really look
You
at it,
think?
like coming from the college ranks, he's been
Yeah.
successful. He
Successful,
went
right.
to, you can't
Took him a
say
few
that
tries, but he got it.
Yeah,
right
but
down
he
the
was
you
so
don't know
successful
it, but
even but before he went to USC. He wasn't a great coach, but he was a solid coach. I mean,
Coach.
he was a
I
good
believe he
football
was
coach.
older than Urban Meyer was when Urban took this job. I
Oh,
believe.
way older.
Oh, yeah,
He's
way
not that
older.
old. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, Urban's only
People
50-something.
realize Urban's only in mid
What,
50s.
53,
He's not that
54?
old when
Oh.
you talk about head coaches.
Coaches.
Like, he has another 10 to 15 years
10
easily
years.
of head coaching in his lifeline.
Left.
Doesn't
Yeah.
mean he'll last that long, but what I'm saying is he has another 10 years as far as possibly being a head coach. Do I see him being in Jacksonville 10 years from now? Of course not. But what I'm saying is, with his age, he has a lifeline of 10 to
That's
15
the
years
retirement
left
state,
of just
bro.
being a head coach.
Urban's not a long term guy. When he,
Nah.
I'll say here as like the high, like, you know, live in Ohio, like everything. When Urban came, we knew that it was like not a long term plan. He got us our championship. He left us in great shape. Like, you know, I get asked this a lot about Urban Meyer, and I'm like, no, this is the deal we made with Urban Meyer. Same thing he did at Florida.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, exactly. and we're totally good with it. We are totally good with it. Like,
and right.
Yeah,
and then he could probably groom
That's
the
your
next
championship,
guy.
you know.
And he probably can groom the next guy
helps.
at Jacksonville. So it could, like you said, it could be.
He's going to be in the
beginning
front
of
office. He's going to be in the front office. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's going.
That's very possible.
And Ryan Day,
that's very possible.
But yeah, the thing about and I think he will potentially, because I think him going back to the booth. I think he would like. I think somebody said he was bored essentially. So I look at that as well. Like I don't think he's going back to the booth. Per se,
we know
like
his wife is tired of being home. We know that,
right. So
I met her one time. Shelly's a nice lady.
Nice. So, fellas, let's put a bow on this week's Couch Coach Live, man. So I'm gonna go around the horn, promote your social medias. I'm gonna go with you first, Chris.
Yeah, you can find me Off the Ball Pod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. Obviously, go follow Off the Ball Network on OTB_network on Twitter, Off the Ball Network on Instagram, and offtheballnetwork.com.
All right, Mo.
Yep, y'all can Up in Flames sports podcast, wherever you can get your podcast. Up in Flames Pod on Twitter and Instagram, Mo_cheese15. And the one thing I just want to get out there is everybody, please wear your mask. Please follow protocols that your state or area have. COVID is real. So please just everybody continue to do what we have to do, whether we like it or not. Any of us can get it. I've come to, it's reality for me. And I don't know if it's been reality for a lot of y'all, but it is real. So y'all just follow y'all protocols and do what you got to do, man, for as long as we got to do it to ultimately get rid of it, man. So COVID is real. Wear your mask. Go out. Do what you got to do. Keep your distance because it's a reality for me, so it is realistic. But Up in Flames Pod everywhere you can go.
Rob.
You already know where you can find me, FNC Pod on Twitter, Football and Show Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And yes, like Mo said, COVID is real. I have had it. From the sounds of it, I had it a lot worse than he did. Thankfully, Steven, he's had it. It is rough. It is very rough. I know people, it's different for everybody else, but for me, it was really bad. So I really don't want anybody else to get it. So yes, please wear your mask. And another thing, don't be racist.
Please.
Wow, interesting.
Oh man,
Steven.
Yes, sir. Thank you again. Just real quick, Coach. Appreciate you having us on, man. It's always fun.
Best in the business.
He's hands down one of the best guys I've ever had a chance to work with. Yeah, and just y'all sound great tonight, by the way. But you can follow me on Twitter at StephenBTG. That stands for Breaking the Game, the basketball podcast that I co-host. You can find Breaking the Game anywhere that you get your podcast. Just search Breaking the Game. You can also find all of our work at offtheballnetwork.com. Please go check out the website. All of our guys on there are doing a lot of really, really good stuff. So just please go support the website there. You can follow my podcast on social media at BTG NBA Pod. That's on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And just real quick, guys, Jeff and I just started working on a comic book podcast that allows me to get the nerd of me out that I don't really get the chance to afford it to on the sports podcast. So we've had a lot of fun. I've been reading comic books.
Steven is the man.
I appreciate that.
Great show. Great show, by the way. Just to throw that out there. I checked y'all WandaVision shows out, bro. It's a great show. And to be honest, to be able to see all of us in Murder Sports. So to be able to see Jeff and Steven really have a dope conversation outside of sports and put on a great show to show that we're more than just sports talkers was great for me to be able to watch that on the outside. So
thanks, man.
Y'all definitely need to check it out.
You're the man, brother.
That was dope for real. Like I definitely had a lot of it gave me smiles. Just man, this is the side of Steven I get to see. Jeff, I know you've been doing it, but it's just to be able to see that we're way more versatile than sports. So y'all definitely check us out. Anything other than sports when we decide to make that jump and do that.
Yeah, and Jeff will share the show and all that stuff.
And Jeff.
Man, I got a lot to say. I wanted to bring it up, man. Steven brought it up. We call it setting the screen. It's about WandaVision. We've already got episodes 1 and 2 out. We do a recap. Episode 3 will come out when it comes out this week. I want to thank Couch Coach Live for having me on. Absolutely the best host in
Love the man.
I love being here with all you guys. That was an awesome conversation. And real quick, just my parting shot. Everybody, like this week, the talk of the week is like the Cleveland Browns, like great season, up and coming. We talked about, but I mean, saying like we talked about the Dolphins. Mo brought it up, like up and coming. Man, nothing is guaranteed in the NFL. My thought of the week was like a few years ago, the Atlanta Falcons were in the Super Bowl. A couple of years ago, the Jacksonville Jaguars were in the AFC Championship game. Like, I know all the fans, like I love the optimism, but man, you got to take every season for what it is. Like nothing is guaranteed in the NFL, man. That is my thought of the week. Other than that, go check out Jeff Needs Sports. Jeff Needs Help. That's where you can find WandaVision if you're a comic book fan. Steven, I'm telling you, he's the brainiac of the
which is scary for anybody who knows me.
I listen to a lot of the podcasts, and Steven does more research and more in-depth. He's figured more stuff out in this show than 90% of the podcasters out there, man. The guy's putting it in, and we're having a blast, and we talk about it like
it's so much fun.
It's great. So I just want to thank all you guys. This was a great conversation. I appreciate it. And Chad Henne is not good.
All right,
he's no Gardner Minshew.
He'll never be a Gardner Minshew.
The Michigan man. So Jerg.
At JergK40 on Instagram and Twitter, offtheballnetwork.com. You can see all the work that these amazing guys do. Coach, thank you again for having me on. My newest hockey article came out yesterday, I believe. It was fun to write, fun to go in depth in on what I wrote about. So definitely give that a shout. And like Mo, Rob, and the rest of the guys have kind of alluded to, it takes all of us, to get out of the situation we're all in. And like I think kind of to put a bow on it, a topic that really got us going in this segment in the show, I find it wild that of all the people to end their careers that deserve to have a full stadium there with what he did for that city, Drew Brees deserved it. And
amen.
When COVID took that away from him.
Might be a reason he comes back.
Maybe. And so like let's just get out of this so that no other athletes got to go through something like that where their last career game got to be in a stadium only like a fifth of the way in capacity. So
why is Jerg got to be always smarter than all of us? Like
I swear to God,
be like that.
Get mad. Y'all just never get mad at Jerg.
I don't, man. I'm glad he's on my team.
I love it.
Right?
I need a perspective.
The hockey guru. I love it.
Man.
I love it, Coach.
Yeah.
They'll be fans at the Super Bowl when Brady wins. So
yeah. So don't forget to follow the podcast. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Couch Coach Live. Also the YouTube page. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Also, we got some other projects coming up the next few 2 weeks. We got Super Week coming, so we got some stuff cooking in the pod. And I definitely appreciate you fellas for coming on to this week's Couch Coach Live. Appreciate you guys. And
thank you, Coach.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Appreciate it, fellas. And we out.